Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. If you did, that means you're probably interested in this topic, and what we're going to go over today is how to make DIY long lines for diver duck decoys. So stick around, I'll show you how to do it. It's quick, easy, and effective. This is the Versatile Hunter. All right, so disclaimer up front, this is going to be basically a choose your own adventure on how to make long lines. There's a lot of different ways to do this. There's a lot of methods. Is there a dog involved? Are you keeping the decoys on there all season? Or are you taking them off to use in shallow marshes and ponds and stuff like that, all right? So take everything I say with a grain of salt, do it your way, use materials that you want to use, but this is the methodology on how to do it. Also, if you're hunting in really deep water using a lot of heavy weights, pulling them up a lot of feet, it's probably not the way to go. So I usually am hunting in about 3 to 9 feet, so a thinner diameter rope's not a big deal. But if you're in really deep water, you can really end up cutting yourself and things like that. So just take that into consideration as well. All right, so making these long lines is really simple. It doesn't take a lot of work. And I'm gonna show you, I just use 5 items. All right, so first one is gonna be a decoy. Normally, if you're using long lines, you're using diver duck decoys. These are just spray painted flambeaus that I use. And I put 12 of these per line. Spacing is going to be variable and dependent on how you hunt, what you're hunting out of, and where you're hunting. All right, so the next thing is just some kind of anchoring system. This is just an old 5-pound weight. So there's 2 methods you can use. You can use a 1 weight, 1 anchor style where the line floats around freely. And what that allows you to do is it gives your raft a lot of movement. So when the wind blows, your raft moves. Now the downside to this is sometimes it blows and you don't have enough spacing and they get crossed over.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Why?
It would be bad.
Have enough spacing and they get crossed over, tangled up, and then you're out there in your boat or your kayak or whatever your hunting situation is, trying to untangle these when you should be shooting birds. The other way is to have 2 anchors, you drop them off, doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing, they're not going anywhere because you've got 3-pound anchors, 5-pound anchors, whatever the case is, they're down there, they're not moving, your raft is staying the same, your long lines are staying the same. Now the next thing you need is some kind of way to attach the decoy to the actual long line, right? Now you can just tie these on there if you wanted to. You could just tie them on and then they don't come off. The downside to that is if you're going out into like a marsh or you're hunting an area with puddle ducks and diver ducks and it's relatively shallow, you're walking in and you want to take some of your divers. Say you want to take a dozen bluebills, a dozen mallards, well, they're permanently attached. Now you got to cut your long lines. So what I do is I just use some kind of snap here. And what these are is these are actually just from like a $1 set, $1 stringer from Walmart. You take wire cutters and you cut them off. You can also go out and you can buy snap swivel style. You can get like the deep sea style snap swivels at like Bass Pro Shops or wherever you buy your tackle, and you can use those as well. These are what I have, these are what I use, and they allow you to take them on and put them off. That way you can stay mobile with your gear and you're not 100% set on only using your diver ducks on long lines. That way you can use your decoys in multiple situations. Next thing you're going to need is some kind of cordage. So all this is number 18 tarred twisted twine. Doesn't smell great, it smells pretty bad, stains your hands and stuff, but use some of this. Now, like I was saying, this is relatively thin diameter. If I was hunting in deep water using like anything heavier than this 5-pound decoy and having to pull it up like 30, 40 feet or more, depending on your hunting situation, this isn't what I would use. But I'm hunting in relatively shallow water, lighter weight, light decoys. It's not a big deal. This isn't a permanent solution. So if you're out there hunting on a boat, I would use something thicker, save your hands and everything. And then the final thing is you're gonna need, a knife or a pair of scissors, something to cut the line with. All right, so let me show you how to put this together, and it's real easy. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you just take your cordage here, and you're gonna take your snaps or whatever your case is, and you're gonna weave them through. Let me come up here and show you. You're gonna take these, well, I like to put them together, and you're gonna weave them through, and then you're gonna go through your final one. Unsnap them, boom, and they're gonna all be on here like this, right? Then you're gonna have one that's on here. Now all we're gonna do is we're gonna fold it over, get some line, right? And we're gonna do a basic surgeon's knot or a double overhand knot, whatever you wanna call it. You're gonna go once, twice, pull it, boom, pull your tag. And now you've got your knot and you've got your first clip attached. So I like to tie my first clip attached. Now, if you're doing a double anchor, you're gonna have to tie your anchor off, right? But I don't, so boom. And now our snaps will go freely and they're not gonna come off. And we have this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to the next step, which is where we're gonna lay this cordage out. And then we're gonna go and tie each one of these off. Now, there's something you need to know when you're going forward. If you're not hunting with a dog, if you're not hunting with a dog, it's not a big deal. All right. Don't worry about like how long your droppers are. If you are hunting with a dog, you're going to want to have like 18 to 36 inch droppers, longer the better. So keep that in mind because your dog can get tangled up in these if they're swimming through them. And another thing is if you're using a boat, if you don't have long droppers, there's a good chance you're going to get the main line of the long line wrapped up in your propeller. And then again, you're taking care of that when you should be shooting ducks. What we have at this point is we just have all of our snaps on here. And I'm going to show you how to make one dropper, and then I'll show you the whole thing and go from there. One of the things that's important is that you take these not in the order they go, right? So if I just take the first one and tie it off, your long line is going to end up like this and not very long, all right? So what we want to do, and what I'll do, is take the first one and the second one, and then just let all those drop. They're not going anywhere. All right, now what you need to decide is how long in between each one of these, each one of clips, each anchor point, each decoy point, right? How long do you want in between those? So this again is going to depend where you're hunting, what the bird situation looks like and everything. What I try to do is typically go about 3 feet if I can, or 18 inches depending on the situation. So if you follow me, you know that I hunt out of a decoy, or I hunt out of a kayak a lot, not out of a decoy, that'd be ridiculous, right? So I try to conserve space because it can be a hassle at times. If you hunt out of a boat, go longer, great. The more spaced out they are, a lot of times the more visible they are for the birds. So in this case, I'm gonna try to go anywhere from 18 to 24 inches, and it's gonna be the exact same thing as this first one, right? So we're gonna take it, and I'm gonna look at it, and I'm gonna pull. All right, so now I've got, you know, whatever my distance is, and I'm gonna take one, I'm gonna drop the other one, and we're gonna do the same thing. Now, if you tie right away, if you tie a quick overhead knot right here, you're not gonna have a long dropper line. So what you wanna do is you wanna come out and figure out how long your dropper is gonna be. On these ones, I'm gonna go about 12 inches. So you do your overhand knot, boom, right? And so what it ends up looking like is we've got our first one here, and you can see the second one hanging down there, right? It's almost like a trot line. So we're gonna go from there, and now we're gonna do the rest of them. All right, so this is gonna be the finished product without the decoys on it, right? I'm pretty sure y'all know how to put decoys on. But what's gonna happen is it's gonna look something like this. It's gonna go all the way around, right? It looks like a lot of cordage going on. It's not too bad. And then you got your anchor line. That's how to make a long line. Now there's some things to take into consideration with that. It's gonna be where you're hunting, right? That's gonna come down to the depth of where you're hunting, and if you're hunting in tidal water, what the tide swings are. Where I'm at, it's not too bad. We're looking at about a 3-foot tide swing at the worst. So I don't need too much. I need about 9 to 12 feet of cordage for my anchor line is about all I ever need. If you're hunting somewhere where you have a lot bigger tide swings or the water's deeper, you're gonna need to go longer. So my recommendation is go a couple feet longer than you think you need to, just in case you hit, like a channel or something, a drop off in the water and it's longer than you want. You don't want it to pull a bunch of your decoys under. Another thing is when you got it right, you got your decoys. It's real easy. If you don't know how to put a decoy on, they've got a hole here. Just come through. You're going to come through here and clip them on, right? Go ahead and do that with all 12 or however many you put on your long line. And I keep these things on here until I don't need them on anymore. So get yourself some kind of bag. You can get like a Ryobi bag, a leaf bag, an old canvas duffel bag, anything like that. You don't want to just drop these things onto the floor of your kayak, canoe, or boat. They're going to get really tangled if you do that. If you put them in a bag, deploying them is not going to be hard at all. All right. And again, this isn't a permanent solution. If you're just getting into into diver duck hunting, and you're throwing out 2, maybe 3 of these, and you're getting into it because, hey, you saw a lot of divers showed up on the water. That's why I got into these, right? I saw a bunch of divers when I was hoping to hunt a bunch of puddle ducks. Well, this is a cheap and easy way to go. You're not investing a ton of money on a commercial gang rig, droppers, or anything like that. This can get you into the diver duck game pretty quick, and you'll be killing divers before you know it, and then maybe you'll end up addicted to diver hunting, right? So appreciate you guys watching. If you liked it, if you could go ahead and give me a like, let me know if you diver hunt and how you rig them. Do you do individual rigs? Do you have a commercial gang rig style, or do you do a DIY style long line? Let me know if you have any issues with the way I do it, because this is my first year diver hunting and I appreciate some help. So thanks for watching the channel, guys.